Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Wild Medicine Recovery. I'm Rodasi Campbell, a woman in long-term recovery and all kinds of other magical things. And today on this episode, we're doing a little special episode to support the expansion of consciousness through Kundalini Tantra Yoga. And I have two of my Yogi Soul Sisters with me here today who are I'm so excited to interview them today, and you should be looking for other interviews upcoming where I'll be taking a deeper dive with each of them individually as well. But today I have with me, as you can see here, Jess, Merwin Scott, and Grace Heidi Dietrich. And we're double graced today, as you'll see on the screen. Thank you, technology. So Jess is, they're both of you are 500 registered yoga teachers and Yoga Alliance certified educators and have been on the path. I mean, I know both of you have been on the path of yoga for a very long time. I don't even know, maybe you can both just speak into, well, let me just finish first. Jess, you are also the co-owner of the New Moon, or just the owner, I think of Ken as well, your husband, of New Moon Yoga Collaborative, Yoga Studio Collaborative. And you also are a heart math mentor. So I'm going to ask you in a moment to take us through your beautiful, brief coherence exercise, actually.
Yay, awesome.
And then Grace, you are also 500-hour yoga teacher and Yoga Alliance educator. And you run Dharma and Grace Retreats. And the two of you do this Costa Rica retreat or teacher training. Is this the second or third year that you've done this, or more? I don't know.
Well, Jess and I have been doing our online offering throughout. The online began during the pandemic. And so this will be our first time doing Costa Rica together. The Nature Yoga program has been in Costa Rica since it's been 2014.
Beautiful. Yeah, and obviously, not to our audience, but to us, I got to be a part of the Nature Yoga teacher training last year, which was really beautiful as we were maneuvering through the virtual world. And I'm just so excited that people are going to have the opportunity this year to go into Costa Rica for 21 days with you two in this immersive experience. Very exciting. So, and I may have forgotten or not known. Oh yeah, that's right. I did want to add this. Grace, you're also, and I was the recipient of some of the delicious Ayurvedic body work that you offer, and you're also an Ayurvedic wellness coach, correct? Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. So I wanted to, like I said, start today, and I was going to have Jess start us with some coherence, and then Grace, I'll ask for you to send us off with a little something when we close up, if that's all right. So go ahead.
Beautiful. Yes, beautiful. This is one of my favorite ways to start anything is by bringing my heart, my mind into a state of coherence, and it really affects the whole being, as it brings our nervous system back into balance and builds that harmony in the body. So really building it from within. And it's a simple practice. It's meant to be simple so that we can do it with eyes open or eyes closed. This is a practice that comes from the Heart Math Institute. And we can do this in the middle of chaos, challenges, stress, anytime in the middle of our day where we're just starting to feel that level of uncertainty or stress, anxiety, to help to just bring back in that state of neutrality and resiliency in our body. So I'll guide us through real quick. And you can do this with eyes open or eyes closed. And we start by bringing your awareness into your heart. And imagining the breath is flowing in and out of the heart or chest area. Breathing a little slower and deeper than usual, but finding that rhythm that's comfortable for you. And then as we're here with the heart-focused breathing, really making a sincere attempt to connect to any of those heart qualities, such as care, compassion for yourself or others, gratitude, or a deep sense of appreciation for someone or something in your life. Beautiful. And coming back as you're ready. We can practice this in 2 minutes and it starts to change our physiology, even if you don't feel a big shift. There's a lot of scientific research that validates that it does change your physiology. So thank you for practicing with me.
Thank you, Jess.
Mhm.
One of the things I love to nerd out on, as I think you both know, is the science. And I love learning more about it and easier ways to share it with other people. One of my favorite things to teach people.
Nice, beautiful. Yes.
So I have some questions for you. I'm going to ask Grace to start and then back to Jess, and we'll kind of flow back and forth. And you may have other things that you want to add, because I'm aware that there's no like one answer necessarily, no one way of describing what I'm about to ask you. And I would love to hear it, like, even though I'm asking Grace this question first, Jess, if you have something to add after, beautiful. And likewise, vice versa.
Yeah.
The nature yoga teacher training in Costa Rica is a Kundalini Tantra Yoga. And I want to know what each of those words mean. What does Kundalini mean? What does Tantra mean? And what does yoga mean? So I would actually love to hear what each of you have to say. And you can take a piece or you can take all three pieces. So Grace?
Thank you. And I would start with Tantra being similar to the joy I got watching you drink out of that giant gold cup. So the practice and the exploration and the living of Tantra is that, rather than how some of us may have experienced yoga before, of being a practice of transcending or of leaving. Tantra invites us into really having our divine experience in the here and now with everything that we're doing every day. So this fern that's flirting with me right now is my Tantra yoga practice. Watching you drink from that luxurious golden cup is nourishing the goddess. And so for my lineage and for my experience, the exploration of Tantra yoga has been, it was more during the pandemic than prior to that I started with the actual physical practices and kriyas. I was able to do some really incredible practices online during the pandemic with Jaidev of Life Force Academy. And those were so noticeably palpable for me. My understanding prior to that with my Hatha yoga background was more the recognition and understanding of moving through the chakras. So allowing for that pilot light in our root chakra to be lit so that we can have the awareness of all of the elements within us. And again, my exploration has a large viewpoint from Ayurveda. So for me, every moment, all the time, I'm interacting with the elements. So it's about not only which chakra based on the element, but in life, which element is dancing with me. So again, this fern that's right here on my front step, having that element of earth and yet very spacious, so air. So for me, everything is always symbolizing some dance of the elements and some way that I can awaken in the present moment. So Tantra is to weave. So we're weaving in the divine and the human. I wouldn't necessarily call it mundane, but we're ritualizing the mundane.
Love it.
All right. Well, and again, my apologies if there's any odd background noise. I know that India has a lot of random horns and dogs barking, so I'm not sure if that's coming through. So hopefully not too much. Okay. All right.
Send India our love.
Absolutely. She feels it.
I did not know. I haven't studied Tantra specifically. You know, as you're on a path and you're diving deep into your own spiritual exploration, you have an experience of things that you don't necessarily have the language for in those study realms, right? So, but when you speak into what you're speaking in, I, as a student of the elements, I, as a student of yoga, human consciousness, can totally relate to what you're saying. I just didn't know that Tantra meant to weave. And I really love that. I really love that. Similar to the word yoga, which I'll let one of you say what that means. But this weaving of, for me, what you reminded me of, like, here's this fern flirting with you, and the cup and the delight, the pleasure of existence is what I was getting out of what you were saying. Like, that I can be aware to allow that to weave into my awareness right now. So thank you for that. Jess, do you have anything to add to Tantra, what Tantra means to you?
It's just one thing. It's that, recognizing the divine gift in all, as everything that is part of our experience, and of course, we're not talking just about the joyous, blissful experiences, right? It's everything, like everything. What is this? And everyone's on their own journey with this, but like, even when illness enters the body, something like that, what is the gift in this for me? What is here right now that I can be with? What is this divine loving presence opening me up to right now? So yeah, being with it all and seeing the divine interplay within everything.
Thank you for that addition, because I think, well, for sure, when I was a young yogi, in 25 years ago, whatever, I was looking for escape from what is here.
Mhm.
And I thought that if I was doing life right, I would never have illness, dis-ease, disconnection, pain, struggle, challenge. And yoga has taught me, by bringing me back into my body more and more over and over, that everything is part of this, and can be, in fact, to some degree, like fascinating at the very least, but pleasurable as well. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
So, and then what is Kundalini? And maybe not even the definition of Kundalini, but how is Kundalini different from other forms of yoga? And Kundalini Tantra, just adding in that flavor of it. I remember, my background was Hatha yoga and Vinyasa yoga, and human, expansion of human consciousness, studying the Vedas, the Upanishads, the sutras. And when I tried a Kundalini class, I thought, this is not for me, until I tried it again someday, not too long ago, and was like, wow, this stuff is I likened it to like studying herbalism and studying Chinese medicine, because I found in the mantras, the mudras, the kriyas, medicine, like applicable medicine. So I'm going to stop and let you two, and I'll start with Jess. What is Kundalini Tantra Yoga?
Beautiful. So I've been teaching Kundalini yoga for about 8 years, but I'm a practitioner before a teacher, and always, even in my daily life, right? And so I started practicing Kundalini yoga about 15 years ago now. And at first, I had no idea what it was doing. And there were days where I just absolutely despised it, had a lot of resistance to it. But there was something there for me to explore. I knew that. My higher self knew that, rather. And so at first, I had no idea what it was doing, but I felt better after the practice. And that's what kept me going. That's what kind of kept me, drew me in, was that, okay, it feels good to feel good. It feels good to connect to my inner light and radiance. And so I kept going with it. And, Kundalini is really that creative force within us. And it's that power that allows the creator to create. That's one of the terms I heard used by a teacher, and I love that. And, even though all yoga aims to raise the Kundalini and really to awaken us to the truth of who we are, Kundalini yoga is a tantric practice. And it's, it's unique, I would say, in the way that we use kriyas, like you said, which are really this evolutionary action, or action of the soul. And we use the breath work, the meditation, the mantra, to really access those deeper levels, those more subtle realms of energy that we're not always aware of. And in our daily lives, usually. And so these Kundalini based practices really target areas of the body where our energy can stagnate, and either on the emotional level, on the physical level, on the mental level. And then we use movements to stimulate each energy center or chakras, so that we create coherence and balance within the body. And so we can access those higher realms of consciousness, really, and the energy can flow within us uninterrupted, up into the crown we work to stabilize it in the heart and then live from these upper centers rather than our lower centers, where a lot of us can hold on to our attachments, our aversions, really just establishing a greater level of harmony within. But it also helps you cut through just the BS in your system that you don't want to deal with anymore. You just, like transcending those self-imposed limitations that sometimes we don't even know we have, right? Until they come out. And when they come out, they're ready to be healed and looked at and like, okay, not attached to them, but, kind of come out of our system. So I like to give this example of in 2018, when I was going through a major process with my one of my Kundalini yoga teachers, and she was a butt kicker. She gave us very intense practices at that time, but it was exactly what I needed because all of this rage came out of me. And I didn't know, I knew where it came from, but that wasn't the point. The point is that it came out. And since then, I have not experienced, this level of rage. It really, or anything even close to it. It like came up and came out and was released for good. And, I've been able to stabilize my system in a more calm, coherent state, which, so the practices really changed me from the inside out.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to bring this to what a powerful demonstration of what the practice can do, because life can bring that to us as well. Like when my father died, I had an immense amount of rage come up. There was no story. I didn't even want to go look for the story. I didn't even need to, because I kind of already knew what the deal was. But life brought this to me. It went on. It did not pass quickly for me. It went on for a few months. But my practice of staying very present to it, I mean, I felt like I was moving lifetimes of rage that I had suppressed and anybody else in my lineage had suppressed, in my physical lineage. So, and how powerful that in a dedicated environment with safe guidance and experienced support, like the two of you are providing in this training environment, that we can unlock and release those traumas that are stored, or those holding patterns that are stored within us, through the use of systematic practices and the principles of the lifestyle of yoga.
Yeah.
Really powerful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Grace, what would you add to, and maybe even just, maybe you can turn it towards what Kundalini Tantra Yoga is, how that's different from other forms of yoga specifically. And I know that you're well versed in many different types of yoga. I've had the pleasure of teaching alongside you and witnessing you for a very long time. And I know that you have been well versed in many different Anusara and Vinyasa and Hatha and Yin and Nanana. So could you just share what you experience as different in this particular, what you'll be training people in as compared to other forms?
Thank you. Yes, I am just so thrilled at the laid out the way in which that this conversation is going. Just even your share about how when you first tried Kundalini, you were like, no, I hate this. You're like, not for me. And then you tried it again later and you're like, oh, wait a minute, there's something to this. And that's really the evolution of consciousness in all of us all the time. And so we may try something. We may think, oh, yeah, I know exactly what yoga is about. I know what I'm up to. I know that this is how it's going. And then we'll, of course, realize I know nothing. And the next evolution of our practice comes into being. And so for me, with my background being Hatha yoga and teaching and sharing all the different modalities that I've gone through up until this point, and I by no means think that my evolution has ceased here. Um, the what I find is that the the ways in which we can do the practice, which it's important, obviously, for those of us on the path and those who are interested in the path to have a regular practice, whatever it is, do it on the regular, have something, whatever it might be, whatever your modality is, that brings you to your center. I know a lot of my students have had anything from cooking to dance parties, and that was their practice. And with where I'm at in my path, working with a lot of women business owners and who are also mothers and just very busy in the world, sometimes we don't have a ton of time. We would all love to do our practice all day, every day. And with the efficacy of the Kundalini practice, the power of it is felt immediately, in my experience and with many people that I know. And that for me is just where I believe we're at with the evolution of consciousness, with so many people during the pandemic increasing their yoga practice, whether it was through their online classes or just falling in love with it as a way of self-regulation and stress control. People came back to studios after the pandemic with a really, and I'm not sure if I can swear on your podcast, but a kick butt practice. So people really self-evolved during the pandemic. And so now we're not looking at like some long drawn out spa practice. We want something that's really efficient, really effective, that's going to make us powerful warriors in our lives. You know, we have a lot going on. You know, the women that I work with, my private clients, are women business owners who often also have families and kids. And so to have a very efficient practice that helps them to feel like centered and self-resourced and, you know, just to be able to reach into their toolkit and be able to have access to that. So that's where, for me, Tantra is my lineage. And so from the Himalayan Institute and from all of my teachers, it's about living the fullness of life. And so one of the books that we'll be utilizing in the training is the Radiance Sutras, which is that everything, and that's why I remarked on your golden cup, like that's a meditation. That's a way to bring presence. And so for the people that I'm working with and for all of us in this modern world, we need our practice to be as much off of the mat as on the mat. So these tools are for keeping yourself regulated all day, every day. And so to bring in and to lean into Jess's wisdom with the Kundalini is just such a beautiful marriage for what I feel like the world needs right now.
Absolutely. I have private clients. I know that both of you have private clients that you work with as well. And those beloveds, so frequently lately, I've been hearing, how do I stay there all the time? How do I stay there all the time? And I get so excited when I hear that question. I'm like, yes, baby, that is golden. Let's play with that. And so I really love that this is part of it. The self-regulation, self-control, and self-resource are things that I heard you say, and people are seeking that too. Ultimately, where do I leave the moment? Where do I leave my center? Where do I judge that this is not acceptable? And then can I get away from that judgment by just simply coming back to a mantra, to the breath, to the center? What tool can I use to do that? Invariably, as I know that, you know, we all have been practicing that we don't even necessarily need a tool anymore. It's a shift of attention, and anybody can learn how to do that. Anybody can get to the point where they're doing that, able to do that, capable of doing that all day long. And it's such a beautiful way to live. Talk about, you know, yeah, like when I'm not stressed out all the time, that radiance can come forward. You said the Radiance Sutras. Thank you so much for that. I want to talk a little bit about the logistics of what you two are up to and what Costa Rica is. Why would somebody want to do a yoga teacher training? You know, there's gads of yoga teachers. Not necessarily everybody's making a full-time living doing that. I can think of some really good reasons why somebody would want to come to this experience. But I'd love to hear, Jess, a little bit from you and then a little bit from you, Grace, afterwards about why would somebody want to do this? Why would somebody care to do this?
Beautiful. So we're definitely creating or have created a true container here for transformation, you know, and it's really a life-changing like trajectory. If anyone is ready for, you know, a life change, you know, a new path to follow, this teacher training in Costa Rica is we're going to be, you know, immersed in living yoga, you know, for refining ourselves on every level, right? On the pranic level, that life force energy level, in our physiology, in our thoughts, and our ways of being in the world, developing that more awareness around that, how we are in the world and how we're showing up in the world and how the world is showing up for us. We're going to be immersed also in breathtaking, natural, nourishing surroundings, nourishing us, you know, externally at every level, just being around the lushness of the jungle and the ocean waves 2 minutes from your room. We've designed a deeply transformative curriculum to go along with this. It's going to be very experiential based. So really setting you up if you want to teach from that level of your own experience. And even if you don't, if you're going into this without wanting to teach, it's still a life-changing experience. I had no idea that I'd become a yoga teacher when I went through my yoga teacher training. It wasn't really my intention, but then just establishing myself in that yogic living, it's something that I really had a pull to do. But it can be just beneficial for your own personal life, any personal transformation, any big shifts you're going through, especially now when we're feeling so much uncertainty, you know, anxiety. Things are really getting shaken up for us on every level as humans walking this path on earth. So we have this chance to come into this conscious community and make these really heartfelt connections in a supportive environment.
Man, that's beautiful. I thank you for all of that. Yes. Yes. Yeah, and that's what my teacher trainings did for me, everyone, whether it was my meditation teacher trainings or my yoga teacher trainings, which I've done 4 total of those, and 2 of each, and have done many retreats and helped to help train on retreats as well. And oh my gosh, it always ignites and revivifies and refines and helps to shift the entire relationship that I have to this world and what comes out of me. So yeah, I see that. So Grace, after all this gorgeousness that came out of Jess in that share, what for you do you feel called to share around this teacher training, and what invitation would you like to give to folks, you know, riffing off from, or completely other than what has already been shared?
Mm, I love it. And I absolutely love your wordsmithing. I'm like, I want to go dancing with you and have you be the VJ and the DJ. So that's an aside, but also, I think that one of the main things that you touched upon is that you've done a number of trainings your own self. And so we have quite a few people coming who are already 200-hour yoga teachers. So they've already gone through a training, and this training is, of course, Yoga Alliance approved school and program. And so it does cover the 200-hour requirements. But a lot of teachers, a lot of us, once we went through our 200-hour, we realized this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm only learning about all the stuff that I have yet to learn about. And so with this program, it's a really wonderful way to supplement a 200-hour that people may have already gone through, and to go on a specialty path of, you know, either adding Kundalini to their offerings, or just supplementing their teaching or even their own practice. I think a lot of us as teachers will start teaching more specifically to our population, and then our own bodies might need something else. So it can be a nice way for people to start to work the practice on themselves while they continue to teach their other styles of classes. And then after they've had some time of feeling it in their own bodies, embodying it, then, you know, maybe they'll start teaching it as well. Or, you know, it can be for beginner students. We have some people who, from the moment they signed up, have started taking a lot of Jess's online classes, and they had never done yoga before. And they have been, over the past, it's been almost a year that some of these people have just transformed already, simply in the act of signing up for the training. And we all know that energetically. Every time I sign up for my dream classes, my dreams are like, and the class is like a month away. My dreams are already just off the charts because we've made that energetic investment. And so the transformation already begins. And so, as Jess had alluded to as well, and as we're all well aware, that stress might be heightening in the world for us more than ever, and to have a tool to lean into and a community to lean into, because we know that our mind state is as important in order to maintain our faith in what we're capable of doing for the world and the way that we're capable of showing up. So we need to, again, really fortify ourselves in order to support our friends, family, and loved ones, and even to take action in our communities. So we are the light bringers. We are the guardians of the light, and it's very important that we take care of ourselves. So even if this 21 days is your gift to yourself, to make sure that you're able to stand up um, for love and light and justice and equality, then that in itself is beyond worth it. And then also just knowing that it's life changing when we take that amount of time and we live the practice. It will shift us. It shifts our ancestral line. It heals 7 generations back, 7 generations forward, and it's not just a yoga teacher training. It's very much a life shift. And so for those who are called, we have an incredible group of women who have signed up. We're really excited about this group. And we do have a little extra exciting news in addition. So we are, you know, well aware of that we all need a little extra love right now. And so really leaning into this awareness of the power of of gifting and letting people know that there is always space for you and that there is equality and fairness, we have a special contest that starts on the 19th of February, and it will run through the 23rd. And what this contest is for is one free spot in our teacher training.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exciting. Wow.
We are over the moon.
That's powerful. What an amazing giveaway. I can't wait to see more details about the contest, which it starts tomorrow. I'll be posting this video today, later today, this evening. That's my plan, so long as technology goes well, and sharing it everywhere. And you too can share it everywhere. And then what we'll do is when you're doing whatever you're going to be doing for this contest, make sure to tag me in it so I can make sure it gets shared around to all those other spaces. I'm so excited for whoever's going to win this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we are
Thank-
too. Thank you.
Mhm.
So I just want to, we're closing in on wrapping up, moving towards wrapping up. I want to give some space to you, Grace, to do a closing. But first, I want to share, first of all, absolutely, as you said, when you sign up for something, when you take that leap, when you get outside your comfort zone, the universe starts to reorganize inside of you and outside of you, and all kinds of stuff starts to move and change. And I can absolutely share that that is the truth that has happened to me numerous times. So, so just putting that out to the audience, like that's real. It absolutely is real.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's fear of like, who am I? How dare I? I couldn't. And I want to invite everybody who's watching to just like sit with that resistance, that fear. I have a voice in my head too that says, I can't, I don't know how. What about this, that, and the other thing, when something in my heart is pulling me towards, when something is saying, oh God, I would love to do that. And then immediately this little thing in there starts going like, but, or, you know, whatever, like, I'm just going to set that aside, unconsciously, not even seeing that I've set it aside and totally ignored myself again. And of course, I've practiced not doing that, and I'm continuing to see places to bust out of that and give it some love and make conscious choices anyway. But I want to invite everybody to notice if you have the resources, if you have the time, even if you don't think you have the resources or the time, if you have the support or don't know if you have the support, if you haven't asked. I've been a single mom for 20 years, almost 20 years. And I've radically, you know, and sometimes people were going, what are you doing? I've gone and done things, sometimes with my kids, sometimes most of the time without them. And not everybody gets it. Not everybody, some people will be perplexed. Some people may even stand in judgment, but I have had to follow my heart. It's talk about what Grace was just saying, this warrior path of light, to be brave, to bust out of old paradigms that say I cannot. And so I just want to invite everybody right now, if any of this is stirring your heart, for you to say, what if I could? What if I could actually be in Costa Rica, April, what is it, 20 something to May?
Well, yeah, April 12th through May 3rd.
Okay. April 12th to May 3rd. What if I could? What if I could be in Costa Rica, enjoying the jungle and the ocean and being guided in this sacred environment to attune, to learn, to dismantle, to heal, to up level? What if I could do that? I just wanted to invite everybody into that consideration. It's so easy for us to just toss it aside like that's for somebody else. But what if it's for you? Is what I wanted to say. And secondly, I wanted to share, like you talked about the stress heightening and the importance of self-care and the importance of up-leveling ourselves so we're fortified both in our own systems, but also in community. And I just wanted to say, both of you have been such a beautiful support for me in moments of doubt, fear, dismantling of my health or whatever was going on for me, like living examples of being community sisters who have reminded me of tools, who've given me space to have the freak out or whatever was going on, to remind me who I am. I mean, you both really live this, and I know that that's palpable to anyone watching, but I'm giving thanks right now for the community that I have, and then setting an intention right now for even more, even more of that at this time. I love that you shared, Grace, that this is like through the pandemic, people doubled down into or established a practice, and that people have started to wake up more. And that, Jess, you spoke into like there's everything's like we don't know what's going on right now, you know, and I'm kind of sheltered from some of the stuff that's going on right now, but I hear little bits and pieces, and I'm like, yeah, Kali, Shiva, whatever, like they're doing their dance right now, and there's some crazy stuff being dismantled. And I don't have the luxury of going into fear. It will annihilate me. So what I have to do instead is the practice, and then surround myself with community that's also knows that they are light warriors, and that to be capable, to feel brave enough to stand for justice and the light. I couldn't do that by myself. So thank you for the reminders of that. That feels really huge.
Beautiful. Thank you. So beautifully articulated.
I wonder, I would just love to hear any closing invitation from you, Jess, first, and then from you, Grace. And I know, Jess, you may need to hop off to prepare for your next thing. And then Grace, you can, after you share whatever, you can close us out with a little something lovely, if that would be okay. So Jess.
Beautiful. I love the invitation that you gave to everyone, and just thank you so much for this time together, this heart space that we all got to share here on this call. And for any listeners listening, we're all connected in this web of life. And as you know, when we all raise each other up, as all, what is that? All ships and tides raise each other up, or whatever that saying is. But that's what's coming to my heart right now. And to, you know, drop into your heart space as much as you can is my invitation. We can never really trust the incoherent brain. I've done that, and it's usually makes for the worst decisions for me. So anytime I recognize that and I drop into my heart, I get a clear answer. So I would invite you to drop into that if you're considering joining us for these beautiful 21 days.
Namaste and Jai Ma, Jess.
Namaste.
Goddess Grace.
Yes. Well, I feel that your invitation for everyone to welcome in the idea of, yeah, why not? What if it could be me? What if it could be? Because that is usually just the right spark that we need to get the fire going. And so just to be able to open up to possibilities. And so I feel that it is something that we, and Jess mentioned this as well, for this particular training, some people might not even go on to teach. It's not so much about making a transition to become a yoga teacher. It's making that transition to be to continue to be a strong, powerful warrior, centered and not operating from past beliefs or inherited beliefs or operating from a space of fear. And Rodasi, I loved the way that you phrased that. I don't have the luxury to be in fear. I have experienced very quick manifestations, as we all are doing all the time. And so I am definitely, I might even get a tattoo of that phrase. I don't have the luxury because in our present moment, it is birthing our next moment. And so none of us really have the luxury of being in a space of fear. And so these are the tools that we can help ourselves to stay in a space of equanimity and stay in a space of being able to call on the energies that we need, whether that is to be peaceful or whether that is to kick some butt. And so doing that all from that conscious present moment. So yes. Yes. And this action, Rodasi, is exactly the meditation I would close us with.
Okay, beautiful.
Is the hand on the heart, because we started with that heart coherence. And then in this moment, simply placing a hand over your heart, and you may begin to already feel a sense of calm washing over. And so this is a tool that I use often. Anytime I'm in a city, I will pretty much walk around with my hand on my heart. And then also just interacting with others, of having that space where it feels like a hug, where I'm already setting off all of the chemicals within me so that I am in a space of equanimity and ease. So I'm in a space of self-love, because from that space, then that's the energy that I'm extending out into the world around me. And then to layer in on that, of course, from my favorite Ayurveda, Dr. Vasant Lad, says that the only meditation we really need is the So Hum mantra. And with this, what we do is internally, with our inhalation, we hear the sound so. And internally, as we're exhaling, we hear the sound hum. Inhaling so. Exhaling hum. It's a very simple practice that we can access at any time, and I hope that it brings great sweetness to your present moment.
Thank you. Namaste. That still silent presence at the center of my being sees, acknowledges, experiences that in you. And Jai Ma, victory to the Divine Mother. Well, I look forward to interviewing both of you separately sometime in the near future. Many prosperous blessings to each of you, and thank you for blessing this podcast today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Rodasi.
much.